Let's face it, in 3 years, your life is probably going to be exactly the same as it is now, but just with more wrinkles. So let's get out of this rut and start dreaming bigger, starting today. Coach Theresa Lynch is going to show us how.
So this one is about dreaming big. So what I get people to do is that you write your vision for 3 years. So what you think you can achieve in 3 years. So write it all down, put it aside, get another piece of paper, taking what you think you can do and pushing the boundaries a little bit more. So say you wanted to go on a 2-week holiday once a year. Maybe you push the boundaries that you go on a 2-week holiday twice a year. Maybe you want to earn, say, $100,000. Maybe you push it to $150,000. So you're just taking what you've got and pushing the boundaries, pushing yourself a little bit more out of the comfort zone with your second vision of what your 3 years look like. Then have a break, grab another piece of paper. This time you're going to write your vision for 3 years, where money, time, location, all the possibilities. You've got no limits. So everything is open. So if you could have whatever you wanted in that 3 years, maybe you're living in another country, maybe you're spending 6 months of the year traveling, whatever it is, and just write it out. Don't censor yourself, because a lot of people do is they censor their thoughts. This is a way for people to dream big. And then I get people to put it away for a couple of days and then come back to it and see what could they take from that third vision. Don't worry about the first two visions, because they're not relevant. We're only looking at that third vision, putting down on what could they do for creating some of those dreams that they wrote down in their vision for 3 years. And one of my examples was when I did it for myself recently, is when I wrote it was to talk on the Dr. Phil show, and I was promoting my book. However, I don't actually have my book. So what I can do is I've taken that I need to write my book before I can go on to that next step. So what can you take out of your 3-year vision when you've got no limits, no expectations, no nothing? What can you take to actually then start to turn those into the goals that may help you to get to that scenario that I'm talking on Dr. Phil promoting my book. Well, I don't actually have a book. So that's why I need to write my book to be able to do that step. So what can you take from that 3 years and turn it into an action plan for yourself?
Wow, that sounds so inspiring and so powerful. So we have this dream. You want to be on stage with your book, promoting your book. Now you have to write your book. That sounds big, and that sounds scary, and that sounds like a big mountain to climb. How do you help people with those invisible things that are going to hold them back, surmount that so they can keep continuing towards that big, big dream that they have?
Usually there's like one or two things in general, whether it's parental influences like mum and dad saying, well, you can't do that, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. Or it's their work ethics, or people have come through, parents expected them to be doctor, lawyer, accountant, something else, but they wanted to be like an artist, or they wanted to be a journalist. They may have changed their path in their life to please mum and dad. So it may be part of it getting them back onto their purpose to start with. And some of it, and then other things might be their negative thoughts like, oh, I can't do that. Who am I to do that? I don't have enough experience. And working them through is actually where that's come from, and helping them to clear it out so that they can move forward. And it may not be a quick process. There may be different, we might do something and then something else has popped up that is holding them back as well. So as a coach, it's a lifelong, being a human is a lifelong experience as well. So that one thing might happen and then down the line it's but I already cleared that. It's actually, no, you might have gone down another layer of what you're doing. So it's not a matter of that, we've cleared, I'm not good enough. Yes, we might have cleared that one in a particular situation. However, something might have come up that it's in another situation that we didn't actually need to clear at the time. So it just depends on, it's also then taking little action steps, and that's really important. It's not about writing a book, like it's not saying, oh, I'm going to sit down for the next 2 weeks and write my book. That's not going to be the way that I'm going to get my book written. However, if I sit down and say that every day I'm going to write for 15 minutes, then if I go over, that's fine. And if I'm stuck or whatever, I'm only limited to that 15-minute block to get something done. So that by doing it in little bits, then I've got a bigger success rate. Because like if you're like another example is if you're attempting, people come sometimes they're wanting to lose weight or figuring out why I'm the same. I'm still trying to work myself out. So however, it's like I can't go and tell somebody to go, oh, you need to go and walk like 10,000 steps a day. You need to do eat say 1,000 calories and all of this. One, I'm not training nutrition anyway, but those steps may be too hard. It might be that we just need to walk, rather than taking the escalator up, we walk upstairs, or just finding little steps each day. And then as we build up things, then we can increase different activities to get there. So it's not taking a big leap, it's taking little steps. So rather than taking one big leap, we might take 6 steps to get to that next milestone. So we break it down in milestones and then we break them down into steps. So one milestone might have 6 steps rather than going, okay, this is what I want to do, and putting into place a lot of little steps to make it so it's not so overwhelming and not so jarring to people, because making changes is hard and people don't like making changes and getting out of their comfort zone. And to do anything, like to achieve goals or dreams, we need to change as a person on the inside. So we need to make it so it's manageable and that we can make the little changes. Sometimes, yes, we can do a big step and it works. Other times we take a big step and we're going to go back to straight where we are going, that's too hard, I can't do this. And we're going to get all those negative thoughts back again. Yet if we take those little steps, then we're going to be able to move like the rubber band of where we are. We're going to be able to stretch that little bit further so that we can take that next step. So I love the thing is that when people like move house, like not a lot of people do not stay in the same house each for the whole life. So people move around. But to do that, you have to get out of your comfort zone. You might be changing suburbs, so you're having to learn a whole new area. That's all out of your comfort zone. But after a little bit of time, it feels normal. It feels natural now. Where before it was like, oh, it's a bit scary. So it's like you've got to give it time, and you have to have the expectation that it's not going to feel comfortable straight away. It's going to take a little bit of time to be comfortable as you move into the new version of you, because you're not the same person you were at 18. So you've gone through changes, like, and not maybe also like big changes, it's little changes. Like it might be a change of a job, a change of career, change of location, changing family circumstances. They're all changes that then become the new normal. So as we keep working through, we get a new normal. And that's what people need to realize, that as we grow and develop and change, we just develop a new normal. So we don't always remember what things were like, because that's not our process anymore. We've got a new set of circumstances, a new sort of norms that we follow. So it's a matter of that we regularly move out of our comfort zone with changes in like career or location and things like that. So it's been really important that we don't stay the same. We're not this. We change all the time. We're just maybe not necessarily as aware of the changes that we've made, because they're little incremental steps.
Yeah, I love that, because it seems so doable. When you're talking about writing that book, it's like, okay, well, I'm just going to write 15 minutes a day. And then that becomes your normal. And then you're ready for the next, oh my goodness, I'm going to, research a publisher. Okay, now that seems scary, but now I'm working with somebody and that just seems normal. And okay, now I've got to take the next step. And so I love the way that you've approached that and helped to make that 3-year goal tangible and easy to achieve with just those tiny little changes. Fantastic. So I noticed that you have a journaling experience for people to start digging into, their dreams and moving towards them. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
So Awaken Your Dreams is a journal. It's a 7-day journal that's free on my website that you can go and get, and it starts into you think about what you like to do as a child, because a lot of time, and I'm finding that with a lot of conversations at the moment, people are getting into their 20s, 30s, and 40s and are now starting to go back to activities that they did as a child. So it might be that they were like, they enjoyed art, but parents go, well, that's, you can't do anything with it. But it was the joy of what they created. So people are now going back to what they enjoy doing. So one of the activities is to actually write down what you enjoyed as a child. And as a child, did you have a dream of what you wanted to do? Like, I always knew I wanted to be a teacher, and I did that for a long time. So like, I'm just taking that skills, those experiences, and now working with a different group of people. So it's just a few questions of getting people to think about what they dreamt about as a child, and also maybe to, if there's things like a lot of people say they hear their parents' voice. It's like, are you hearing like a parent's voice saying you can't do that? You're not good enough. Who do you think you are to do that? So it's all about it's just a very basic to get people thinking about what they like to do as a child, what may be holding them back, and also getting them to dream. So it's just a very simple process, and it's like, it's 7 days that I've got in there so that people can just go through some of the questions. They may go, well, I'm all right with that, I don't need to think about that. It's just to get people to think about what they wanted, what they like to do as a child, because the thing is that a lot of people have forgotten to bring joy and play, and I'm going to use the word play intentionally, into their life. As we get so stuck into, we have to be a good mum, a good wife, a good employee, or a good boss, but we forget about ourselves. So it's about, and not just for women, men do it as well, is making sure that we have time for ourselves as well. So it's like, what can we bring back to bring the joy back into our life so we can fill ourselves up, so that we've then got the capacity to support our partner, to support our children, to support even elderly parents. So it's having our capacity full so that we can go and support, because if we're empty, we don't have the capacity then to support the other people as they need it. So it's just to get them thinking about how to bring back the joy in their own life so that they can expand and have the capacity to help others around them.
Oh, you have stimulated me so much. I have so many comments. Comment number 1, though, is going to be, I love that you talked about play, and I love that you talked about bringing back those childhood activities that we loved. And I just want to share a quick story. Last weekend, my son's school had a fundraiser, and there was a silent auction. There were all of these baskets of different things. And there was this big craft basket with string crafts. And my girlfriends and I were looking at it, and we were like, oh my God, we could bid on that basket, and we could do a girls' weekend with wine and just do crafts all weekend, and like take those kids' crafts and just, have them as our adult playtime. And so it's kind of funny timing that you happen to be mentioning that. And then you talked about that whole replenishment piece. And one of the things that I work on very consciously is a new definition of success with my clients and a new definition of productivity. Because you have just linked play and fun and frivolous, what our mind BS is going to say, or that voice in our head, activities, with replenishing yourself so that you can show up in the world in the way that you want to show up, be the parent that you want to be, show up, replenished in your job, and able to be there with your partner and your friends. And so I love that you have turned that into something that is essential for life, and it's not frivolous, and it's not selfish, and it is not any of those things that our mind BS is going to tell us. So as we sign off for today, is there any last words that you'd like to leave our people with?
I want people, when you're dreaming big, remember that you're going on a journey. I don't care if you don't meet your dream. You've gone on a journey to learn something. And it may be that you needed to learn a particular skill that will point you in a whole new different direction. Don't worry that you didn't make it to that dream. You've learned the lesson along the way. So I want you to think about the journey that you're going on. Whether you reach that dream or not, immaterial. It is the journey and the growth that you are going through that is the most important thing on on your way to creating your dreams.
Yeah. Sometimes there's a bigger plan that we're not quite aware of that keeps shoving us in this direction, and then we'll end up there and be like so happy.
Absolutely.
I'm going to put the journaling activity in the description so that people can find you. Is there any other way that people can find you if they want to learn more about how to dream big?
They can find me on Facebook at Dragonfly Dream Coaching, Instagram as well with at Dragonfly Dream Coaching are the places where you can find me.
I love that name. All right. I will put all of those links in the description so that people can find you. And thank you so much for sharing this tip for helping people move into their dreams in just 3 years. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Subscribe below so you can add more B word, S word, and even F word to your busy life.